No end in sight to the travel mayhem at one of the nation's busiest airports, with hundreds of flight disruptions each and every day. The setbacks at New Jersey's Newark Liberty International Airport come after 3 alarming communication outages in less than 2 weeks. Is it going to get any better? That's the big question. Welcome back as America Reports rolls into a second hour. I'm John Roberts in Washington. Welcome back and congratulations on the new baby.
Thank you. It's great to be with you. The baby's doing well at home. Everybody is happy. I do want to say, and I don't mean to be a downer, but I'm a native New Yorker. I have never in my life had a flight take off from Newark International Airport on time. I could have told you guys this like 40 years ago. But anyway, that's our top story this hour. I'm Jillian Turner, in for Sandra today. So Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy is launching an FAA emergency task force now to tackle Newark Airport's week of crises. He's working on a short-term fix for the communication glitches. Headaches also persisting over at the FAA internally with a major staffing crisis, adding strain to what is a troubled aviation system.
Retired air traffic controller Colin Scoggins is ready to weigh in on all of this.
But first, Fox Business's Lydia Hu is live from Newark Airport. Lydia, how is the DOT, the Transportation Department, trying to tackle this today?
Yeah, hi there, Jillian, John. Great to be with you. I can tell you that Secretary Sean Duffy is attacking, or is at least addressing, these staffing issues head on. He, for example, wants to increase the mandatory retirement age for air traffic controllers from 56 to 61 so they can stay on the job for longer. And he also wants to offer attractive bonuses to incentivize their work, upwards of 20% or more in some situations. The FAA is also adding that the training classes for air traffic controllers right now, they're completely full through July of 2026. So reasons to be optimistic, but it could take years before we are fully out of this staffing shortage crisis. The nation needs about 3,000 air traffic controllers across the country. And if you look specifically at the airspace over Newark, the target is to employ 38 air traffic controllers. That's according to the FAA. But you can see right here, we fall well short of that. Only 22 fully certified controllers on staff now, 5 supervisors with another 21 in training. The FAA issued a statement today saying this, quote, "There is a nationwide shortage of air traffic controllers, and the FAA is, for years, has not met the staffing goal for the area that works Newark airspace. The persistent low staffing levels and low training success rate at New York were contributing factors to moving control of the Newark airspace to Philadelphia." Now, regarding the radar outages that you mentioned, Duffy said that yesterday old copper wires were to blame. Those have been replaced with fiber optic cables, but Secretary Duffy is still warning that more outages could happen across our nation's airspace if significant upgrades to air traffic control systems are not made. And now Secretary Duffy is demanding answers about why upgrades have not been made sooner. Listen here.
I'll be requesting an OIG investigation into the failures of the last administration and the decisions that were made to move the TRACON from N90 in New York down to Philadelphia, and the work that was done to plan for this move and making sure that the lines were hardened.
I can tell you, being at Newark here today, in terms of cancellations and delays, it does seem like conditions are a little bit better than they were yesterday, when the average delay for an incoming flight, more than an hour and a half yesterday, all due to staffing shortages. So pretty tough go there. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Lydia Hu out at Newark for us today. Thanks so much, John.
All right, for more on this, let's bring in retired air traffic controller Colin Scoggins, who's been an air traffic controller from the 1980s all the way through until 2016. You have, my friend, seen it all in that 34 years. And in the overall, how bad would you say the situation is?
The staffing levels actually been about the same, maybe a little bit worse right now, but then that could have something to do with COVID a little bit with training. But other than that, there's been a staffing issue since 1981 when they had the strike.
Wow. And so how has that affected air traffic control? How has that affected the life of air traffic controllers who have to deal with staffing shortages and an ever-increasing number of planes in the air?
It's at certain times where they're working more overtime like they are now. They're doing 6 days a week. that wears down on the controller, that wears them out. Eventually, they end up using a little more sick leave because they're just exhausted. So then you're back in the same boat. Now you have people that are missing work, and you have to call in more overtime. So it's just it's spiraling in the wrong direction. Needs to be fixed.
So you got people who are overworked, people who are exhausted, taking time off as a result, and then the whole system suffers because of that. There was a moment in the Newark airport airspace the other day. It was 3:55 in the morning where the screens went dark. I think it was for the second or the third time. And we hear an air traffic controller talking to a FedEx pilot that she couldn't see because the radar had gone dark. And I just want to play the conversation out for you here. Listen to this.
1989, I hand you off here. Our scopes just went black again. If you care about this, contact your airline and try to get some pressure for them to fix this stuff. New York departure now, 120.8.
120.8, sorry to hear about that. FedEx 1989 switching. Good luck, guys.
So you have an air traffic controller saying to the pilot, if you care about this, please get your company to put some pressure on administration officials to fix it. I mean, that is a plea for help, a plea of desperation if I've ever heard one.
That's a controller at the end of their rope trying to get something done. Obviously, they've been going through this. That isn't the first time it's happened. And I can see a controller being pretty frustrated about the whole ordeal.
Wow. Now, we talked about critical staffing shortages. This is what the New York Times said about a shortage at Newark Liberty Airport. The shortage on Monday forced the FAA to delay flights to the busy airport for up to nearly 7 hours, the latest problem that plagued the airport because Newark had 3 controllers on duty when the goal is 14. Yet the CEO of United Airlines said this: the truth is that all the flights in and out of EWR, which is Newark, are absolutely safe. When there are FAA issues such as technology outages or staffing shortages, the FAA requires all airlines to fly fewer aircraft to maintain the highest levels of safety. So he's saying despite the fact that 3 out of 14 controllers were there, which obviously makes the whole system slow down and put so much pressure on the air traffic controllers to keep those planes going where they're supposed to go. Can we be assured that the flying public is safe?
The safety part actually comes in where that Newark sector over there at Philadelphia Tracon. I'm not sure how many positions they have, but they probably have 5. And on most given days, they're probably running 4 of the positions with staffing with at least 1 controller, if not an associate or something helping them as well. So in the situation you're describing, they're down to 1 position. And what that causes is a bunch of ground stops. That's how they try to keep the system safe. So when they start causing delays, and my understanding they had some up to 7 hours delays the other day, that is how they try to keep the system safe. They just don't give them any more planes than they can handle. If you're down to 1 position, say their normal arrival rate is 48, and now they can only handle maybe 20 or 22, and then your combined positions, departure and arrivals, you're really increasing the stress levels of the controller.
Yeah, and the stress levels of the flying public as well. You know, we're seeing some of the old equipment that the Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy trotted out the other day. I mean, he basically said it looks like it's from the Flintstones or maybe the Smithsonian at best. And
when I was in, that was new equipment.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's still there. I was surprised at a couple of things. First of all, he said when they have to go get replacement parts, they don't go to the manufacturer. They buy them off of eBay. And then when he said that they're going to redo the communications between the Philadelphia Tracon and the tower at Newark, that they're going to run fiber, but then when they get to the facilities themselves, they have to slow the data rate down because the old equipment can't handle it. I mean,
That's correct.
What are we supposed to think about that?
It's all about upgrades. The Secretary of Transportation there has a lot of good ideas. I'm all for his aggressive approach. I just don't think it's going to be done in 3 years. It's a very complicated system with a lot of redundancy. So it's a little bit different when someone wants to go change their whole computer system at their business, where they're working more about speed, where in air traffic control, the speed is nice of the computer systems. What the reality is you really want redundancy. And that's where they're having problems at the Newark sector is with the backup systems failing.
Yeah, and it's not like you can shut the whole system down to do the upgrade and then bring it back online 6 months later. You got to do it in real time. Colin, thanks so much for joining us. Thanks for giving us your insights and your expertise. Appreciate it.
You're welcome, John. Thank you very much.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.